Sam, Saturday's win against FC United, we all know the performance wasn't the greatest, but at the end of the day, it's the points that matter, isn't it?
It was a good performance in the circumstances, considering how the players were, like I said, after the game and how they actually felt. From a health point of view, I'm delighted because we got better as the game went on, and it says a lot about the players' character because, as I say, we had 4 or 5 who weren't very well, and it was tough for them. We lost Alex Bray in the first half. Sean Newton had to go off at half time. We played against a good team on the day. I thought they were probably up there with Kidderminster in terms of probably the best we've played against at home. So to actually get through that in the circumstances, to keep a clean sheet, to win the game 2-0, to get back-to-back wins after the week before, there's a lot of positives to come out of it.
And you've put yourselves in a position now with this game tomorrow night being the only game in the division where you know if you win you go above Leamington, you also go into the top 10.
Yeah, that's the plan, yeah. We're hoping that we've got a few people feeling a little bit better by tomorrow. There's a couple more coming today that have got picked up this bug as well, one of them being the goalkeeper coach, and then a couple of players who never even realised had it on Saturday. So, but we're just hoping that Ian the physio has told them what they need to do to try and get it out of the systems, and then hopefully they're all available tomorrow and we can go and get another good result.
If you do, when tomorrow night comes around, say have 5, 6, 7, however many players it is, feeling under the weather,
yeah,
is it pretty tricky to play them all, or do you have to say, well, maybe I can't afford to play them all, we'll play 3, put 3 on the bench?
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things I've been thinking about today. If you remember 2 weeks ago in the week where we had obviously the Altrincham game at the end of the week, and I spoke about, looking back, was it the right thing to do in terms of going with the same team? And I know hindsight's a good thing in some ways in terms of, well, I wish I'd have done this and I wish I'd done that. But I always feel with us, when there's a freshness about us and there's an intensity about us in the way that we actually play, we do look a lot better team. And if I'm in this situation again, I feel like it's the right thing to do. In terms of creating those couple of key things, then that might be something where I just think, do you know what, we have to go with this because we do look a better team, like I say, when we play with a lot of intensity, and that was probably what we did really well in the second half compared to the first half. We were flat first half, and then second half, like I say, the players have dug deep within themselves in terms of just giving it everything that they've got to try and get through the game, thinking about little things. Adriano flying up and down that left hand side, David Ferguson did it, Jordan Burrows doing it, you know, there was plenty in the team that were just hung in there and fought and kept going, and like I say, to come away with a result like that, I'm delighted about that.
Anyone who's definitely ruled out so far?
Not sure for now. Callum Griffiths has probably been the worst one. We thought he was feeling better about it yesterday, and he's come in today and he's feeling worse than what he ever has. So we had to separate him from the group this morning. Alex Bray is the same, Jordan Burrows the same. The goalkeeping coach is terrible. So, but it could be we might tonight or tomorrow morning we might be where we've got a couple more that's picked it up as well, because this is what happens with this type of thing. So there could be players who've not been involved that much recently that have to go out and play tomorrow. You know, I don't mean it disrespectfully to them, but we might need everybody tomorrow if we do pick up even more of a bug. So we've done a lot of work today with everyone involved in it, just thinking, well, if this happens, we have to make sure that we're prepared.
And I suppose that's the one good thing about having such a big squad. You may have to put players in who haven't played recently, but you know you've got cover for most positions. Yeah,
that's a real plus point, you know. And the good thing is, even though that there's 3 or 4 who've not been involved, they're good lads as well, you know. They're not lads who've spat the dummy out so far, you know, in terms of being out of the team or not in the squad. And there's a 3 or 4 in today who trained really well, and that's really good, because that's what you need. You know, you need to be able to rely on people, and people to go about the jobs the right way and be good pros in this situation. And that's what they've been. And like I say, if we need to use them tomorrow, I'm sure they'll go out and do a good job for the club.
Talk about some of the individual players that we've seen recently. You talked about Adrian America. We thought he was superb getting forward in the second half.
Yeah.
But how do you get that end product from him? Because every time he got down there, he sort of wanted to cut it back rather than crossing in off his left foot, and the move seemed to break down after he'd done so much good work.
Yeah, he did. He did. Like, you all know how much energy he's got. You know, that's probably one of the biggest strengths of his game. And he's actually got really good ability as well. And I know when you look at it, and I've looked at his stats for someone with... I didn't really know before I came here that much about him, if I'm being totally honest. But in some ways, I've been quite surprised in terms of the lad could play higher. Maybe that's the reason why he's not. You know, is it because he doesn't score enough goals? Is that the reason why he's not played at a higher level, or consistently as a higher level with someone and with that much ability and that much energy? But we'll just keep working with him all the time. The one thing that we have done with him, we think we've got him in a good place in terms of mentally and coming in with a smile on his face. And I think he's put a consistent run of form together. He was quiet in the first half, but he was one of a number of players that was, and he was one who second half put in a really strong performance, and he got us up the pitch with his energy and this intensity that I keep speaking about, which when he does that, he improves as a team. It's a big part in terms of the way that we set up when Adriano does the things that he can do.
And Joe Ironside came on Saturday in the second half, but
yeah.
How much would you like to see him get his first goal for York City?
Yeah, I think that's what he needs. You know, looking at Joe, I think he's a confidence player, and that'll come from getting goals. They're all the same, you know. They're selfish, they want to score. But the good thing about Joe is he's got his head down. You know, he's working hard. He wants to improve in terms of when we're training. Wants to do a little bit more, and then hopefully when that chance comes, he takes it. But he's just got to keep working. You know, if I go back to Jordan Burrow before we played the FA Cup game, he looked a little bit like a player who was lacking that goal to give him that little boost and get him going again. And since then, he's never looked back. And Jordan at this moment in time looks a real proper player. You know, I had a friend of mine, Greg Abbott, who come to the Chester game, and these words were to me were he should be playing League One, never mind at the level that he is actually at this moment in time. So that I just thought about it in terms of where he's come on in the last couple of months and where he is at this moment in time with his work rate and his attitude, and he's getting goals as well. So he's a real big part of what we're trying to do.
That'll do for me. Thank you.
How's Sean Newton? Sam, is he touch and go?
Yeah, touch and go. We don't really want to risk that too much, and then you lose him forward. Well, with muscular injuries, you push him too hard, and you might lose him for a couple of months. We're coming into an important period with the amount of games that come quite close together, so we don't want to push him too soon and then lose him for a while. Mm-hmm. He said he did feel a lot better today. I know Ian had done a lot of work with him Saturday after the game, and then yesterday, and we have these, I don't know if you know what it is, but a game ready. It's like this compression thing, and it pumps ice through it, and it helps to deal with muscular injuries. They're brilliant, to be fair. So he's took that away with him yesterday, spent all day sat on the sofa using that to try and start the healing process as quick as possible, and he's in his touch and go really for tomorrow. But let's say if the risk's too big, we won't use him, because we know we're going to need him if it means missing one game. I've said this before, miss one game but we get you back for the next one, and we don't lose you for 2 months, whatever it could potentially be, then the risk's too big in terms of trying to push it too much and it going properly.
Yeah, I think it's 11 months now since we had back-to-back league wins. That has to change, doesn't it? So if that's going to be achieved this season. Yeah,
we want that. We want that. You know, you look at the league now, and if we can get another good result tomorrow, that 3 wins on the bounce, if you include the Kidderminster one, back-to-back league games. You know, if we go back to thinking back, the Chester game, a good performance, even though we didn't get the win. A better performance second half and got the result. You know, if we can do this again tomorrow and get another good result, then it's great for everyone, and that the confidence levels keep building a little bit again, you know, and hopefully coming into this Christmas period, it puts us in a really good position, you know. That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah. Do you think now that the full-time training, we've never really witnessed it at the club so far, but do you think it's beginning to pay off now? Do you think that played a part against FC United, even though a few lads were feeling under weather? You seemed fitter than them the second half, didn't you?
Yeah, like I was thinking back about the game, we looked fresher than them in the second half, where First half we looked, like I say, we looked really flat. And I spoke to a really close friend of mine who was at Bristol Rovers when they dropped into the conference, and they used to have their manager was Darryl Clark at the time, and one of the key things he said before every game was to stay in the game for an hour. And the reason he was saying that was because he thought from an hour onwards the fitness level should tell, you know, and it's a bit of common sense really, but it should play a big part. And if we're doing the right type of training and working hard enough in terms of the fitness side of it, and with us being full time, that should play a real big part in games, especially when you're coming up against your part-time teams. But I have to say, I thought they played really well on Saturday. They still had little spells in the second half where they played some good stuff, and I knew they were going to be a good team because I'd watched them play 2 or 3 times on the Scout 7 that we're able to use, and I knew it weren't going to be an easy game by any means. And now the game actually prevailed, or whatever you want to call it. That's what it was. They were really good first half, and we did have to change at half time. But like I say, we were a lot better second half, and I'm really pleased with the result.
Yeah, lovely.